Hello, Earthlings. I come in peace. Take me to your leader. Hi guys, my name is Solomon Jagwe. I am back with another quick insight. So the character that you're looking at right now was made in Character Creator 5. Originally, it started off as a Daz 3D character, and now I'm in the Unreal Engine as a CC5 character that's compatible with the MetaHuman Animator. So the character is originally from the Daz Marketplace. I used to be in the Daz Marketplace, but now I'm in the Unreal Engine as a character that is compatible with the MetaHuman Animator plugin, right? So I come in peace. So I can't say peace out because I'm in, yeah. Anyway, guys, so I'm gonna walk you through how to take your Daz 3D character from Daz Studio into Character Creator 5, add an HD profile, and then be able to use that character in the Unreal Engine to, just like you see right here. So this is an alien character. This character needs to be at least an Genesis 8 model up to Genesis 9. So this one started off as a Genesis 8 model, and it was converted into a CC5 character. So this is amazing. I'm excited to share this with you. And if you are a creator that owns like a vast library of 3D characters from Daz 3D, this is what you'll be able to do. You'll be able to take your model, as long as it is, again, a Genesis 8 or 9 model, and you'll be able to convert it into a CC5 character like this, and be able to use it as either VTuber or as a character in a short film or cinematic, right? So let me walk you through the whole process. Right, let's go to the Unreal Engine so I can show you the character. So this is our alien dude right here. I'm using like this is an environment that I got from the Fab Marketplace. And as you can see down in this sequencer, I have the facial animation over here that is on the character. You can see it right there. And I also have the body animation. So the body animation is from the Rococo motion capture suite. Like I said, this can be any motion capture suite. Could be Xsense, could be Perception Neuron, could even be the Macaless mockup. And so here, the facial animation is, this one came from the iPhone 12 mini that is on the head-mounted camera rig that I'm using from the Rococo rig. Again, that could be any rig, could be your camera. This data could also be from just a pre-recorded video, because you know in the Unreal Engine 5.6 they've introduced that. Okay, so this character, to get in here, the things that you need to have first, go to Edit, go to your plugins, and go to Reillusion here. So you need to have Character Creator and iClone Auto Setup at version 1.41 or higher. You also need the Character Creator UE Control Rig version 1.1 or higher. Okay, we're not using the iClone Live Link right now because we're importing an FBX file that is going to come from Character Creator. It can also come from iClone, but these are the two main things that you need. And of course, you're going to need the MetaHuman plugins, the MetaHuman Animator depth processing. If you're taking the data from your iPhone 12 mini or any other iPhone that you're using, that if you're using the MetaHuman Animator data that use depth processing, you need this plugin. This control rig makes it possible to apply the data from the control rig over MetaHuman onto the CC5 control rig. Okay, I'll walk you through that part so you can see it. Okay, so once you have those plugins installed, it may require you to restart your program. But once you have them, another thing that you need to consider having, again, is thank you so much to Mike Kelly. Go to his YouTube channel called Kelly Tunes, and he's the one that provided this Python routine that collects all the textures into like an INI file, and then it's able to put it in a folder. So it's when you click on this link right here, it's gonna go to this page on the mega.nz and download this. So you need this Python script to be able to do what I'm going to do. And again, thank you so much, Mike. So for this amazing Python script, please subscribe to Mike's, to Kelly Tunes here, and show him some love. So thank you so much. Again, credit to him, because if it wasn't for this, I would have been using an older method. But this makes it possible to gather all the textures that are in the Daz Studio scene and then able to collect it into a folder. Okay. And then I'm going to walk you through the process of that. And then again, like I said, you need to have at least this character needs to be a Genesis 8 male. And in this tutorial, I'm doing Genesis 8, and then I'm going to do a Genesis 9 file separately because it's a little bit more involved, right? So if you see any character in the Daz 3D marketplace that is a Genesis 8 male, or if just 8.1, Genesis 8 and 8.1, this process should work. Okay. So this is the character that I'm going to use. It's called Marvin, the Alien HD for Genesis 8. In case you want to follow the same tutorial, you can get, I think right now it's on sale for $8.39 if you're a member. But if you're not a member, I think there's also a discount for that. So if it's just $23, still a good steal. And this is the character. You can see how the different shapes and different color textures that come with it. And so we're going to be able to convert all of that, and all those detail over in here, we'll be able to bring it into the Unreal Engine via CC5. There's a new update in the Transformer 2 that makes it possible. Okay, so those are the things that you're going to need. Now let's go to Daz Studio. I'm using 4.24, and we're going to look for Marvin. I'm going to use Daz Central to find Marvin. So just type in Marvin and click on open. It's going to lead you up to this. Click on finish. So it's going to be under all products and searching for Marvin the Alien HD. So there he is. Double click on him and go to figures and double click on the character. So the thumbnail is kind of doesn't match the content that is in this particular scene, because this was just I think created for promotion purposes, but the character doesn't have hair and doesn't have an outfit, so it comes in as just really a naked alien dude. Okay, so fortunately this character came in a pose, which is what you need. You can also use a T pose. Now those resources are available in this folder on your local, wherever you install Reallusion. You need to go to Character Creator 5, go to the program folder, go to Assets, External Files, Daz Resource, and in here you're going to find the profile. So there's the A pose, there's a T pose, and there's also the facial profile. So under the A pose, look for the character that matches the model. So this is a Genesis 8 model. So if, for example, he wasn't in an A pose, you just look for Genesis 8 male. So Genesis 8 male A pose, just click on this and just drop it into the scene, and you'll be able to convert that into like the proper stance or pose. Okay, so now that the character is ready, go to the parameter tab over here, go to mesh resolution, and we're going to export subdivision 1 first with the FBX, and then we'll increase the subdivision to 2, so we can export an OBJ which will contain the high resolution. It will contain the high resolution version of Marvin. It's a tongue twister, sorry about that. All right, so Marvin is selected. I'm gonna go to File, Export, and I'm gonna put it in creatures. I'm gonna do Marvin, maybe like let's do Marvin 2. Let's do a quick one, M2, and we'll call it Marvin 201 and save. And so what I would recommend is just take a screen grab of these settings and try to follow the same settings. I'm making sure that I include subdivision data, base groups as polysets. I'm collecting the textures because I want to be able to correlate these textures to the INI file, because I want to know what the names are so that I can find it. Okay, and then accept. and I'm using the FBX 2012 version, binary version. So that depending on the speed of your computer, that will fly by just like you've just seen. All right, now we go back to the mesh resolution over here, and at the subdivision level, make sure it's high resolution, and then we're going to do subdivision level 2, and we're going to export this as an OBJ. So export, and instead select the name because you want to kind of match that, and then change from FBX to OBJ and press save. And again, you can copy the settings, do a screen grab of this, but I'm using Maya for the units. It's a 1 unit equals 1 centimeter, and then click on accept. So this one is really just sending the high resolution version of the mesh that we're going to be able to get. Like if I select this face over here and zoom in, so originally we used not to be able to get all this detail in the characters, right? So if I select the character and go back to the top level over here and select the mesh resolution, watch what happens when I drop down the subdivision level, right? So that's what used to happen, is that we wouldn't get all the high definition and the detailing that will come with the models. It wasn't until the new transformer was updated that we are able to export this in just an OBJ with the subdivision level 2. Okay, so now that we have all of that, one final step is you need to go to the surfaces over here, select Marvin, because when I browse to where the textures are being saved or where they are originally saved, because you want to know, for example, we're going to do the face over here, and you can see on the right hand side over here under the base color, it could be any slot here, but as long as you're able to get the texture like the normal map over there, if I click on the slot right here where the image is appearing, click one time and then click browse in Daz Studio, it will take you to where the textures are located, right? So make sure that you click over in the top bar over here, copy this path because you're going to need this, and you can do this for any other model that you are dealing with, and copy that. And then I'm going to browse to this folder because I want to copy these textures. Okay, so minimize that. We're going to come back to that. And now that we've exported whatever we need from here, you can actually essentially close Daz Studio. You don't need it. But let me leave it there for now. And we're going to go into Character Creator over here. So remember that Python script that we downloaded from Mike Kelly? So that script was going to be loaded from here. So script, load Python script. But before I do that, let me go back to Daz. This scene right here, you need to go to File, Save As Scene, and I'm going to put it into here. For example, I'm going to call it Marvin. To save, right? And remember why you saved it. Remember this path right here, because you're going to need to find this creature, the DAV file. Save and click accept. So when we go to Character Creator over here and we go to script, so it's this script that we downloaded from here, the Daz to _ini file creation. This is 2.5 version, and Mike said he's going to keep updating this, so be on the lookout. Always go to this YouTube channel of his and this particular video and like bookmark this, because he said he might keep updating it. So the last update was probably August over here, 2024. So I'm looking forward to more updates. So this is the file that you need. Unzip it. And so when you go to script over here and load Python script, it's going to be this file, right? So I've unzipped it, and it's the 2_5.py, this full name. Open it. And it's going to ask you to find the file of where you want the DAF to say. So what I did, something else that you need to keep in mind is that the reason why it was able to easily find these files right here is because there's a config file in your documents folder that you can edit and include the path to all of this. So let me go back to over here to this my PC over here, go to documents, right? Scroll all the way down. In here, is where you're going to find the Daz config file, this one right here. So if I double click this, it's going to open using my editor, and it's going to be Visual Studio. So let me expand over here. That's the release note. And so this is the config file that you need to update. So it was able to go to this folder right here. If I move it over here a little bit, you can see that it's going to this path because I was able to put the path of where the starting directory is. I copied this path just like that, copy, and then went back to my script and just pasted it over here. Okay, it's also going to want to know where the Daz content is. The Daz content, if you go to the folder where you were browsing to those textures where Maven is located, you're going to get a sense of where this is located. Click one time in this bar and you can see mine is on my C drive in Daz 3D applications, data, Daz 3D, my Daz 3D library, data cloud. So this gives you an indication of where this content is, right? So if I go to Daz Studio over here and I go to edit, I go to preferences, and then I go to content over here. Down at the bottom, there's content directory manager. If you click on that, and then you go to the Daz Studio formats over here, this will give you the path that you need to paste into the config file, this config file right here. And that's the path right here. So if I move this down a little bit and line it up, you can see that for my content, it's going to be from C Daz 3D all the way to my Daz 3D library, which is right here. So wherever you have your Daz 3D content saved, make sure you copy that path and then paste it in here. And then this is the path where you want all your scenes to initially start with. And that's why it was able to find that one, right? So when I go to in character creator over here, this right here, the DAW file, this scene, the folder here is what you see in here. It's coming into, that's the default, because you want to make it easy for yourself. Set a starting directory. Okay, if it's in an external hard drive, do that. If it's on your C drive, then place that. Okay, and then this one right here is the folder where when we open this file, whichever character it is that we're opening, this is where it's going to put that content. And that folder is on my external hard drive, and it's right here. So this is the one. Right now it's empty, but once we select the file, you're going to see it becoming populated quickly. Okay, so make sure after you've added all those paths, save, and you can close that. And then, so in the background, the Python script is using that config file to then find these folders. So I'm laboring to just explain this so that you know what to do. I know this is a longer tutorial, but hopefully the details are helpful so you don't get stuck. So Maven 2, we're looking for characters, and if you can even go to quick access over here, and I think you can pick this one up, and again it's going to be under creatures. Open it and watch what happens in this Daz content folder, that one that we added in the config file. If I select on Maven, click open, you see what it did right now? It added a folder that has all the maps in here, and it also created an INI file. So if I double click on this, you can see that it went through and told this particular INI, this is where all the textures are located for this particular character, right? So it's a Genesis 8 male, and it goes through and adds. So you see Maven mouth teeth, you can see Maven mouth, Maven legs. So it was able to gather or go through. It went to use the config file, went to the DAW file, the Daz Studio scene that we saved. It was able to assess all the parts that are in that particular folder, like in here. So it was able to go through all these folders here, look at this DAW file, Maven 2, and then gathered everything and created this particular thing. So you can see in CC5, I will show you another part where they originally had a workflow where you could generate this INI file, but you had to go through and replace all the textures yourself. What this one does is that it saves you the time. It actually places the names of the textures so you don't have to go through and manually do it. Okay, so this is it's a time saver. Thank you so much, Mike Kelly. This is amazing. Thank you so much for this script. So this unfortunately doesn't work yet for Daz 3D Genesis 9 models. And that's why I'm going to do a separate tutorial for that and show you how to go back. So this is mainly for Genesis 8 models and I think Genesis 3 models as well. Okay, so this ini file is going to be needed when we're going into the transformer tool, right? So let's go back to character creator over here. That script, again, we went to script, load Python. We found it where we saved it, where you unzipped it, and was able to create these textures in here. It created an ini file and also gathered all the textures. Now, the reason why I explored to this folder where the original textures are was just to make sure that all the textures in here were actually gathered. So there are 10 textures here, and here I can see there are also 11 textures actually. So there are 11 items in here. So if there are 10 here, means that there was a texture in here that has been missed. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these, just copy just to be sure, copy, and I'm going to paste and just replace. Okay, so there should be 11 now. There are 11 items, so it matches up. So make sure that when you go to that to your Daz scene and you browse and you click on one of these and browse, and first close this and you click on browse, click here, click browse. Like, you make sure you copy all the textures that you find here into this folder that is created by the Python script, because sometimes it misses some of them. Okay, just like you saw, it was 10 here and yet there are 11 textures. Okay, so now that this is done, we can go back to character creator and let's cancel this. That's just for illustration purposes. Now I can use the transformer tool over here. So go to transformer and then click on CC3 plus, right? So before I do that, I just wanted to tell you that it is, so if anyone is wondering, is it possible to use Genesis 9 characters inside of this transformer tool? I'll say yes. Let me first open up real quick. Here's Nawi, and this character is also here. So this is a Genesis 9 character. You can see the detail in this character. I use a different outfit, but you can see all the furrows, the detail, the normal maps, right? In here, this character. By the way, just so you understand, sometimes when you see a thumbnail, it doesn't mean that everything in the thumbnail is in this file. Usually they will tell you what else was used, but be like careful to study this what's included and features section, because it will tell you exactly what's in the file. And if you need to buy these other things, then make sure that you look at the detail and what else was included, right? That could have been used. So this particular character is really just the model with the texture, right? So this model I was able to bring into CC5 and add the facial profile to be supported for it to support the MetaHuman Animator facial animation data. But you can see the skin, you can see all the detail right there. And this was made possible using SkinGen, and I'll walk you through that whole process. But just so you know, it is possible to bring Genesis 9 characters into CC5 and convert them into a character that can then use the MetaHuman animation data in the Unreal Engine. Okay, so let me do a new project over here, and we're going to go to the transformer tool over here, go to CC3 plus, and then we're going to look for our character that we exported. It's going to be under Daz characters FBX. It's going to be creatures, and this was M2. So we're going to open M2 underscore 01, open. And again, depending on the speed of your computer, this might come really quick. So, but when this comes up, okay, always select advanced. And this gives us the ability to again add the high definition version, or here the high poly source. So we're going to click that first. We're going to find our character. So go quick access. I think that was Marvin OBJ. Let me right click on this and save open file location. So this is, make sure you kind of open this file or copy that and save it somewhere so that it's easier for you to find. But there's our OBJ file from this Daz scene right here that we exported with, under the parameters tab, mesh resolution 2. So this is the one that we're loading right now, the OBJ version. Click open, and then we're gonna click on bake. Body textures, I personally try to do 4096 because I usually get very close to my models. If you're gonna use just a VTuber, then you can maybe do just 2048. But if you're gonna animate your character for like cinematics and short films, then do the 4096. Okay, now this part right here, that's the one that I was telling you about. It will automatically generate an INI. That was the original workflow that was recommended by Reallusion. But that one, when you generate that profile, it's gonna just create a profile that is so detailed that you have to go through and add the images yourself one by one. You have to go to the folder or copy the name and paste it. So that's why this Python script is so important, and it's such a time saver. So I'm not going to click on that. But on the texture profile, we're going to go to that INI folder, this one right here, the one that was created by the Python script. This is the one. So we open it, and then we're also going to include the texture folder. This is the one again that was created by the, let's go back to quick access over here. It's going to go under Daz content. So in the Daz maps, this is the one that we need. Again, select that folder. That's where all the texture maps, the one that I was referring to, that I made sure that contain all the texture. This is the one that's going to be looking at. So now that you have all of this together, it's okay to press here, okay. But sometimes if there's like maybe eyebrows or anything, something might show up here. Make sure you assign those correctly to the different sections, okay. Right now for this particular character, there's no need for that. Just click OK. And remember that folder with the resources that I was telling you about, the A pose and the T pose, right? The way to find it is by clicking here. If it's for 63 characters, get A pose. So if you want a T pose, click on that. If you want to get the A pose, click on that. So if I click on it, it's going to take you to that same folder that we're looking at, right? If you need the T pose, you click on that, it's going to bring you to the T pose again. Make sure you pick the right model over here and then just drag and drop it in Daz Studio. Okay. So we'll click OK over here. And this part takes a long time sometimes, depending on the number of textures that are in the particular model. But you can see it's resizing the textures. It's going through and processing the eyes and teeth. And it will even go through and start gathering all the textures that are found in that folder. If there's any cloth, it will apply it. And then it starts baking the textures as you see here. Now, this is dependent on, again, the speed of your computer, you know, because sometimes the textures can be large and sometimes it's multiple textures. Like if we go to Daz Studio over here, anytime that you select the parameters tab or even just the surfaces, you're going to notice that there are multiple parts that you're going to look at. So you got skin lips, you got skin, you know, you have nails over here. But especially under the surfaces over here, you're going to see that you have pupils, mouth, lips, legs, irises, fingernails, eye moisture, ears, cornea, arms. So all these textures have to be processed, you know, under the torso here. So these are the things that the system is actually doing right now. So there, it's one of 78 textures. It is really 78, right? So depending on the character, again, if the character has a lot of textures, that process will take a long time. And this is where you probably go grab a cup of coffee and maybe eat lunch or whatever. But depending on, so I'm going to pause the tutorial here for a second so I can allow this process to go through. And when it's done, I will show you what it looks like at the end. So the conversion is completed and we have our alien dude right here, and you can see the detail is in the character. So that OBJ with all the detail was very helpful, and textures have been like baked nicely. So now the character is ready for us to add an HD profile. So it's at this point, it's really just a CC3 plus character, but it's not until you go to the facial profile over here, make sure the character is selected, click on edit expression over here, and it would say CC4 extended. Click on that and make sure you enable the CC5 HD option and apply. So when you go to your Illusion Hub, make sure you have HD face control enabled. This is a free plugin that is available to you as long as you have a character creator license, and that's going to give you the ability to attach the data from MetaHuman Animator onto the control rig from a MetaHuman onto the CC5 character, and click on apply. For now, you can save the profile if you want, but we just want to convert this as a final character, and it's going to change from CC4 over here to CC5, and that will make it officially a character that can support MetaHuman animation data. Okay, so at this point we just click on edit expressions again to get out of the editor, and what I normally do is I save a copy of this. I'll go to my custom tab over here, I go to actor, character, and then usually in the folder over here, I just add maybe like a Daz subfolder. You simply just right click over here, create a new folder, and add him in there. So for example, if you wanted, we just go here, click a new folder, and we just say Marvin, or we just say aliens. Okay, scroll up, double click on it, select the character and frame it so that you can get a good thumbnail right there, and then press save, give it a name, say Marvin to alien 1. Okay, and there's the character. So if I were to create a new scene, file, new project, and double click on this character, be able to load him, and he will have the facial profile that you need to use in the Unreal Engine. So this is the part where you export this character into the Unreal Engine so that you can then use the MetaHuman animation data to it. And before we added the profile, this profile over here, this CC5 HD profile, if you try to import a MetaHuman animation data, it wouldn't have worked. So let me get out of the expressions and I'll show you what I mean. So if I go to File, up at the top, File, Import MetaHuman Animator facial animation, that wouldn't have been possible without us enabling the CC5 HD, right? So it's important to do that. And once you see that option, it means now that character will be able to work very well inside of the Unreal Engine. So we're going to select the character and we're going to set to HD level 1 over here, because if you do HD level 2, when you import this character into the Unreal Engine, it's going to take a long time. So if you have the patience and the time, then you can set to HD2 over here and export it like that. But usually I export HD1. So go to File, Export. We're going to send FBX clothed character over here. And under here, under the target tool preset, we're going to select the Unreal Engine. This is Unreal UE5 skeleton. This has been updated. It makes it so much easier for us to have like more stable, like even the skeleton looks better once you import this into the Unreal Engine. The fingers look much better once you apply the motion capture data. So select that. And then under HD character over here, again, I picked sub D1. Again, if you have the patience and the time, you can select sub D2, but just know that it's going to take a long time to import into the Unreal Engine. It's going to look great, but it's going to take a long time. So for now, for the sake of this tutorial, just do sub D1. And then we're going to embed textures. You can include the animation if you want, current animation, and then just the O, but you can also send without the animation. Just click export and click OK. Then we're just gonna create this of VTuber. This is export. Let's call this be alien 2. Say Marvin alien. Save. This part doesn't take very long because the character is not too detailed and it has no clothing. Now, if I wanted to add clothing to this character, I can also do that and then export a version of it. And I'll show you that real quick, but let's wait for it to finish. While this is processing, I wanted to go to the Unreal Engine real quick and point something out. Like the lighting is going to make a big difference, you know, to your character. So right now you can see here the character is beautifully lit, and you can see some of the lights that are in the scene. And the beautiful thing is that it also, when you import the character with clothing, it will support all the texture that you sent in from CC5 over here. Okay, so we have that. But if you wanted to add clothing, you can go to the content over here, content tab, go to template, go to the pack option over here, and in here, so this is the one that I was able to use, the rescue character. And in this pack right here, it has different types of clothing. So I was able to just double click on that shirt top, and I was able to assign it over here. I also did the pants, right? And then I did the bionic arm. But what's really neat is that, so this bionic arm has 5 fingers, if you can see right there, right? But what is neat, let me turn on the auxiliary lighting, is that it's actually able to detect what the character is, how many fingers, and when I apply it, it's gonna get rid of the 4th finger. And look at that. That's what makes character creators so cool. So we have the bionic arm, but we also have a leg, the bionic leg. So I was able to select the character, double click on the bionic leg, and it was able to replace that foot with this one right here, right? So again, you can hide if something is poking through, like if the toe is poking through, you can edit the mesh. You can click on edit mesh over here and hide whatever is showing through. Okay, so that's how I was able to save this particular model and send it to the Unreal Engine. So let's minimize that. So in here, what I did was I went to a folder. This is the VTuber folder. I just, for example, I will just go here and create a new folder, V2, and then double click here and then click on import, right? So when I click import, so I'll go to the Marvin underscore alien 2 FBX that we exported and click open. And when this option comes up, select high quality shader. Again, this is made possible because we have these 2 plugins installed over here, and that's the auto setup, you know, and you can find these on Fab, but also if you go to your hub over here, Unreal Auto Setup 1.41, right? You need that. You need to install that. Okay, click OK. Now this process again takes a long time, but I'll show you what the character looks like after it has been imported in here. So click OK. Just give it a chance to start importing. Sometimes it may seem like nothing is happening, but something is happening behind the scenes. So when you see this lag right now where something seems like nothing is happening, just be patient. It will show up. Again, this is going to depend on how fast your computer is, the power of your computer. But once it shows up, I'll be able to walk through the process. So for now, let me just pause the tutorial here. So the FBX import options dialog box has shown up, and you want to import the mesh and skeletal mesh as well. But down here at the bottom, make sure you import morph targets. That's extremely important. You can also enable use TO as reference, preserve smoothing, all of these. And then for the animation, if you imported animation, make sure you include, exported time, but also use the 30 frames per second. Sometimes the animation from iClone and CC5 can be like 60 frames per second. So it will take even longer if your animation has like it's much longer than that. So click on import and then let the system go through. Again, this process can take a little bit of time, and just give it a chance for the system to go through and import everything that is needed. So it's going to import the FPX mesh. It's going to import the animation if there was animation in the character. Then it's going to also start importing the textures. And that plugin that I was talking about, the auto setup, it's going to help convert all the textures, just like the ones that you see in here. It will convert them, and then they will be added to the Unreal Engine, looking like all the specularity, normal maps, and all of that. All those things are going to be included, right? So this part here with the clothing, I wouldn't export this version. The one that I exported was just the naked alien, but it's the same process. Once you are happy, so if you're using it as like a VTuber, then you want to give your character personality, so be able to spend some time here in Character Creator 5, adding, details and things like that. For example, if you don't like the way the skin looks in here, you can use Skin Gen to adjust the appearance of the skin. So I'll go to modify over here. So while this is importing inside of the Unreal Engine, let me go back and show you some of the process. So now it's auto processing the textures, and you can actually see it going through the process over here. So it's at 30%. While it's doing that, let me show you something here. So with this skin, the character looks a little dry. It looks like an alien that came to Earth or something and then was affected by the atmosphere. But if you want him to have like a nice fleshy look, then go to modify over here, go to the skin tab over here, and then activate the editor. And if you have Skin Gen, you can be able to add tattoos. You can be able to add, like, if he's crashed, for example, and you want him to have like maybe a gash showing that like he was injured, then you'll be able to do it inside of here. So now just be careful, guys. When you use a skin editor, it's gonna take all the clothes off. So if you're the office, if this is a female character, they're gonna be like naked. So I usually keep the camera down here, up here, so not down here. So just be careful. But the good thing is, whatever you do over here, you'll be able to propagate across the entire character. So select on the skin base over here, and let me resize this. We're gonna scroll down over here and look for the head. And then there's the roughness. So we have the head selected. That's the one that we're editing. So the roughness, this is one you can adjust. So you can see the difference. So we want to add a little bit of like life to him. So he's not like too dried out from Earth's atmosphere. And you can also adjust the contrast. So if it's not too shiny, can be like around here, for example, but that gives it a little bit more life, right? So when the light shines on him, you can see glints of the specularity over there. But you notice that it only did it for the neck. You can see it right there. The cool thing is that once you've edited the character here, and maybe you even want for like metallic part, if you wanted the character to be a little bit darker, for example, if it's too light, you can use the contrast over here to adjust, how dark that is, and also adjust this so you can make it a little bit darker like that. And that one is a clear demarcation. So here, when you're happy with this, then you can go ahead and click switch to the body, and CC5 is going to go automatically and update everything. Now, one thing it will not update, let me scroll down so you can actually see how it updated. It propagated the shininess across the entire body. What it won't do is the lips. The lips are treated as something different. So when you do that, you can apply like makeup and lipstick and things like that. Okay. Now, if you, let's go back and see the progress over here. All right. So this is complete. Oh, don't forget to save this. But when you're done, always click on the activate editor over here to get out of it. And then it will apply the textures. And you can also like update the textures from 2048 to 4096 in this section. So it will make high resolution textures to the character. Okay. So there's the model. So our character is not going to look like that because when we exported it, we hadn't updated it. But this is, I was just showing you what you can do before you export the character. Okay. So in here, the model has been successfully imported. So let me go ahead and save all, because in case Unreal Engine crashes. So this character right here, Marvin Alien 2, that's the one that the skeletal mesh that you want to work with, right? So that plugin of the control rig plugin makes it possible for that. So now I'm going to right click on the skeletal mesh. It has like a little pink purplish like color coding. Right click on it and then scroll all the way down. And there's that plugin, create CC control rig. Click on that and then allow the system to go through. And it's going to process the character. Again, it's looking at the HD profile that we added over here under the facial profile. And it's going to apply to, it's going to create a new blueprint of this character. And it's going to create a new folder in here. And you wait for it to beacon. Just don't rush this. Don't try to do anything while this is happening because you don't want to interrupt the process. It's extremely important that you let it do its thing. Okay. So again, depending on the speed of your computer, this process might take a little bit of time. So there's the rig that has been created. And this BP Marvin Alien 2 rig, and so the name of your character underscore BP, this is the one that you need to add into the scene to be able to add the facial profile to the MetaHuman Animator. So this is ready for use. Go ahead and save all. And watch this. I'm going to add this profile, this character, the BP over here. And the textures are being updated, right? So to prove that this is actually, it supports MetaHuman animation data, I'm going to add this character to the sequencer over here. And you can do a new sequencer, or I can just add this. I'm going to put next to each other so you can see how it works. Before you add the MetaHuman animation data, you want to change under the details panel the face. So scroll and just scale this up a little bit, and also this one, and select the face. Now what's really neat is if I were to add a webcam, you'll be able to use the MetaHuman Animator over here. So if my webcam was connected, this character will be able to use that. That's how you know it's compatible with that. Okay. But what is also cool is that I can use the depth mockup data that was captured using the iPhone 12 mini can be added to this character. So I'll go ahead and go to the head over here, the face, and switch it from using a blueprint to using custom mode. Okay. And you can also do the same thing for the body, custom mode, because one add the full body mockup, and then go to the sequencer over here, drag and drop this new character, and we can go ahead and delete this control rig, or you can just mute it. So delete that control rig and also delete the HD face rig. And then under the face, make sure you're on the first keyframe. Let's look at this character and see what animation he's using. So that's Rocco Alien over here. So we can go to the body animation over here. First delete that. And we add a new animation and go to animation and you can also enable allow incompatible skeletons over here. And then we just type in Rocco and the temp motion. Let's use that one. So now we're able to add the animation to it. And then for the face, let's see what this one is using. This is AS_DZ Z if you're from Canada. Let's delete this one and let's add the DZ one, animation, DZ, that one. So now when I press play, now those are the timers that I used when I was capturing the mockup. And so you can see like the mouth is not there yet. So you can actually take the mouth. So it's going to be pa, 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 pa. So that's close enough. So when we play back, the characters are doing the same animation. And again, with camera is I'm using the black eye, this one right here. Black eye cameras, it's able to track the character really, really well. Thank you so much, guys. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for joining me today in this tutorial. Again, we were trying to show the process of taking a Daz 3D character from Daz Studio into Character Creator 5 and then converting that character with a HD profile so that it can be used in the Unreal Engine to be supported by the MetaHuman Animator, and which means that you can swap out this character with a MetaHuman. That's what's wild. You'll be able, right now I'm using the Rococo motion capture suit to do the full body mockup. I'm using the head mounted camera rig from Rococo as well. And I'm using an iPhone 12 mini for the facial animation, but you could use any other motion capture suit. It could be the Perception Neuron or Studio Suite or Perception Neuron 3, could be the XSense, but this whole setup works well regardless. So I look at this environment right here, and I'm using the black eye camera plugin to be able to track the face. So thank you so much, black eye camera team, for the support, and thank you so much, Rococo team, for the support as well. So guys, I hope this gives you some insight. It doesn't have to be this mockup suit. It could even be the like maybe an AI or like Macalese mockup solution, but whichever solution that you use for the body, you'll be able to take this character and apply the MetaHuman creator data on it, and any other mockup data that comes from a MetaHuman, you'll be able to apply to this character. So thank you again for your support. Thank you to all my patrons and to every single person that has subscribed. I'm truly, truly grateful. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I'm gonna do my best to continue creating new tutorials and maybe do some short films here and there. But I'm excited this year because I'm working on a short film. I've been working on this film for almost 13 years. It's called the Galiwango animated short film. So I'll be able to share in the community tab and give you an insight on what it's like to create a short film from beginning to end and to never give up on it. It took me about 13 years, but that's because the technology hadn't caught up to my dream. So I'm looking forward to that. And I was gonna say peace out, but because I said I come in peace, that means I'm peace in, can't be peace out. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. And much love to each and every one of you. And as always, dare to dream big. Please, whatever you do, do not give up on your dream. Bye for now and see you in the next video. Peace in. I come in peace. Bye.